Adults who admittedly peaked in high school, what's life like for you now? Last year, at a wedding reception, I ran into a guy who played basketball at our high school 10 years ago. He held the school record for most points scored in a game. Somewhere in the 30s. I don't remember. Anyway, a friend and I were talking with him next to the bar. And he says, "Man, I miss high school. It used to be every Friday night all these people would come, watch me play, and cheer me on. It was the best. I miss those days." So what are you up to now? Oh, just working at the car wash. My dad gave it to me. You should come by sometime. I'll give you a free wash. Business must be going good for you then. No. Not really. That sucks. Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway. I'm go grab another drink. It was nice catching up with you guys. He leaves. Later on, another classmate of ours tells us that the guy just tipped the waitress with some car wash tokens and asked for her number. We mentioned our conversation about high school basketball. Oh yeah. He doesn't stop talking about that. Reflecting on that conversation, I remember when I was younger, and one of the popular kids would pick on me. Adults told me not to be jealous of them because it wouldn't last. I hoped it to be true. But having experienced the moment 10 years later, I just feel sorry for the guy. Alright. Considering there are only 2 comments and nobody has actually posted a story yet, here is one about my uncle. In high school he was extremely popular. Football star and captain. Apparently he could get any girl and was a smooth talker. He got into drugs shortly after graduating, this is in the 70s, and quickly flunked out of college. He continued his party lifestyle until it ran him into the ground. Now, he is pretty much mentally handicapped and can hardly have a conversation for more than 5 minutes. My whole family sees him as a burden and tries to ignore him as much as possible. It's sad because he is such a nice person and wants everyone to be happy. He got the idea that people don't want him around, so he lives alone and keeps to himself. I only ever see him at Christmas, so I always make it a point to include him and talk to him. I will call him on occasion and it always make his day. It's a sad lonely life. But he never got the support or help he needed. Edit. Thanks for all the kind words. I am going to call him today after work and see how he is doing. I'm sure that will make his day. The 50 Cent line. Damn homie. In high school he was the man, homie will forever haunt me. Other than that, you really just go from a shark in a koi pond to a minnow in the ocean. You can either dwell on the glory years or move the hell on with your life and make some new ones. Wow, 50 Cent is right. Homie does rhyme with homie. I guess I peaked in high school. Had a ton of friends. Popular. Great grades. Was on a varsity team. Dated my first girlfriend. My best friends are still the friends I made in high school, in college and afterwards. I never met anyone as cool great as them. I'm kind of lost in life right now. I'm 24. And no idea what I want to do with my life. I miss my best friends. I miss having no responsibility. I miss Fridays after school where we would all pile into one car and take on the world and chase girls and play video games and do nothing. I miss all that so much. This sums up my dad and his sisters. High school was as good as it got and they spent all the years following it celebrating graduation day. Everything was about partying, drugs, music, drinking, ducking, and doing it all again. Now 2 of them are dead, both died at 51, and the sole survivor, my aunt, has a weird form of leukemia due to snorting dirty crack. Not sure what her life expectancy is, but she probably has a decade or so left of partying. When I talked to any of them, all they talked about was the glory days of high school and all the partying and ducked up it they did. I always felt like it was sad and felt bad for them. It is hard to describe what a lifetime of partying, drinking, smoking, and doing drugs does to a person. They look totally worn out and dead inside. Hate to do it, but this isn't about me. I graduated 4 years ago. Several months ago my very good platonic friend invited me to a huge benefit dinner for a company he interned for, and he had a +1 because he helped plan it. Very fancy. In the city from the suburbs we lived in. On our way there we realized we didn't have any cash, so we stopped at a Wawa to get some just in case tips for the bar. We enter the store and the first thing I see is our prom queen and the star quarterback trying to calm down a screaming baby and scrape some money together for their sandwiches. I get being on hard time, but they both had track marks and clearly on something. The quarterback was a complete asshole to me because I am nerdy and we had several classes together. It was such a divide between the four of us, them the popular ones who were in cheap clothes probably trying to find their next high, and my friend and I. Him in a suit and I in a gown. They didn't recognize us at first, but I heard them from an aisle over as that royal and friend. A couple weeks later I heard they had their child taken away, which sucks as the girl was incredibly nice, just didn't have the ability to take care of a child. It really hit home that high school is not the rest of your life. Guy I knew had a 4.0 grade score through 4 years of high school. Was given awards, certificates, the whole 9 yards. I was one of his connections for coke and weed, and he would consume tremendous amounts. He went to university right out of HS and lasted 3 months before he completely burned out. The last time I saw him he lived in a red hole trailer on abandoned property in northern Ontario and drinks constantly. Just saw them last night at my local bar. They're playing billiards and drinking $2 Younglings while listening to Sublime. So they succeeded them. I always joke to my friends that I peaked too early and in high school. Not to humble brag, but I was friends with kids in every year. Almost all my teachers loved me. I had a 4.0. One Mr. North, my HS name. Even in my yearbook I had to add an additional 6 pages because there wasn't enough space for people to write sign mine. I could literally pick and choose between the girls that wanted to date hook up with because there were enough that wanted me. Since then, I was an average student in college. Had a decent amount of friends and settled into my first long-term relationship after a few failed attempts. I joined a fraternity in no more sports. During college, I was diagnosed with bipolar, and that's something that I had to really learn to deal with. After graduation, got a decent job as a social worker, but I love it and I love what I do and I love my life. I definitely have fewer friends, but that was partially by choice. Growing older, I learned that it's literally impossible to have as many friends as I did in HS, and it's just too much effort and not worth it. I have fewer friends, but they are of better quality, and I'm glad that's how it is. It seems that life isn't as exciting, but I enjoy it just as much because there's a point where the Bruce Wayne homecoming king lifestyle suddenly stops becoming fulfilling. Yeah, it can bring temporary happiness, but I really had to take a look at my life as a whole and what I wanted to do with it. My life isn't terrible, per se, but it's certainly fairly average compared to the HS celebrity status. A lot of people have a bitter view at people who had a good time in high school. I think it's absolutely possible for high school to be some of the best times of your life under certain conditions. Doesn't mean you're a loser adult. I mean, my parents actually trusted me as a teen, so I didn't really gain any freedom when I hit adulthood. I had already been used to going out when I wanted. Relationships were easier. I kept summer jobs, so I had tons of income I could blow on whatever with no bills to pay. Life will never be that easy again. And I'm not lost in life or anything. Got a wonderful girlfriend. We have our own place. Live in a town I love with a circle of great friends. Adulthood is fine. It's just that the teen years felt like easy mode, I guess. I can see where people are coming from if they had parents who had them on lockdown though. Private school in Germany, most of the popular kids went into economics. One of them keeps making startups and selling them. High school in rural Florida, one of them just finished some kinda dental school type undergrad. Happy for her. Most of the popular girls went on to become mums primarily. Even the smart but slightly awkward one got her degree and then became a full-time mother. Sixth form in England, one guy keeps going on trains without tickets and getting caught. He's also some sort of EDL type now. One girl graduated from uni a few days ago and is hosting entrepreneurship workshops. One is doing psychology at the same university I went to. I had a friend who I played baseball with all through school until high school. He became a huge asshole. I was fairly popular and involved in different sports, so it was never towards me. But he was just a big dick to everyone, it seemed. Fast forward a few years, he had dropped out of college and came to the party I was throwing at my college. He ended up with a few other friends from our hometown. It's a large city, around the keg, and started bawling about how his life sucked and he has no friends anymore because everyone's in college and nobody in our hometown likes him. I feel sad thinking about it. But then I still hear he acts the same way nearly 10 years after HS. This is probably going to get lost in the comments. But this isn't me. It's someone I know, and this very question just sends tingles up my spine and immediately made me think of him. He's a family friend. And he was an awesome all-rounded guy. Captain of the football team. President of the debate club. Prom king. High school jock. Valedictorian. Legitimately the perfect dude you could think of. Looks. Money. Brains. Talent. Dude was made to practically make it begin his high school years. His superlative? Most likely to be successful. His teachers and principal all thought he was going to be a future president of the US. Unfortunately, he was into weed heavily. Graduated and went to a school for business. Got kicked out because of possession. That's not all, but he started doing hard drugs. Whatever he could get his hands on. From what I know, life went into the hardest spiral downward I've seen. Got into an accident driving drunk against a stone wall. Totaled his car. And got a metal brace in place of his femur, I think. Currently, the dude is in rehab. Mentally unstable to talk of anything significant with anyone. Constantly ruins his dad's hard-earned reputation. And is treated like a 12-year-old. Blows the little money his parents have on getting the next high. Neighbors hate him. Community hates him. And still is set on becoming the next president. He's 30 years old. Still thinking he's going to run the world. No job. Nothing to his name. No qualifications. Yet he still thinks he runs the world. It's so sad to see. I'm 30 years old and only now getting close to where I was in high school. I was a track star, school records, state championships, 11 varsity letters, and academic standout, voted most likely to get a perfect SAT score. Entered college with 52 credit hours from AP classes. I also had a great group of friends and a couple of attractive girlfriends I went back and forth between. Senior year I developed a series of stress fractures that ended my track career. All the Ivy League schools that had been recruiting me stopped calling. I reacted by basically giving up on everything. I threw myself wholeheartedly into smoking pot all the time and skipping class. While I had the grades and reputation to coast for a while, I had completely used up all my momentum by the time I got to college. And college really sucked for me. By the time I got there, I was burnt out on anything resembling effort or success. And thought I could maintain the same reputation I had in high school by just sitting around my dorm room getting stoned waiting for my girlfriend to come visit on the weekends. I didn't make friends. Didn't go to class. Lost my GF and developed crippling anxiety and depression. From there I spent the next 5 or 6 years completely embracing mediocrity. Dead-end jobs. Way too much pot. No ambition whatsoever. Yada yada yada. Self-loathing and the reality of a service industry lifestyle eventually lit a fire under my ass. Went back to school. Got a master's degree in applied mathematics. And now have a great job in finance. Things are definitely looking up for me. But I still have "Don't Give Up Again" written on the top of my bulletin board.